take a second. Oh, good. It's already working. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the Scorpio season webinar, Dangerous Liaisons. Oh, let me record on my computer as a backup. Fabulous. I'm so delighted to see all of you here, and I am hosting this special one. It's a little different format than I've done before because this upcoming Scorpio season is a lot with 2 eclipses and Mars retrograde. So I like these to be interactive. Jen is here, so if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and I'll pause throughout and she'll let me know. And then afterwards, you know, you can raise your hand and we can talk about things. And yeah, let's get going. Let me share my screen. Okay. Let's see.
And while Celeste is doing that, everyone, hi, I'm Jen Brown. I'll be moderating the chat, and I see all of you putting your birth info in, which is great. I'm getting it all recorded, and we'll have it ready to go when Celeste is ready to do some charts. So,
yeah, and maybe Jen, if you can like number them.
I do put them in order from like the first person down. Oh, you want to know how many are left and stuff?
Yeah, put a number next to each of them, and then I'll use random number generator in order to pick people.
All right.
Because I feel like the universe will bring the people who need to have their charge. Just so you know, if somebody wasn't first, they don't have any chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna do it that way. Okay, so this Scorpio season is called Dangerous Liaisons, and it'll become clear shortly why it has that title. And oh, let me make sure I'm doing to my microphone. Yeah, I am. Okay. So just as an introduction to everyone, so everyone, and if you can put yourself on mute, just so there's no background noise, and then you'll be able to come off later. Just in case anyone is new to me, I am Celeste Brooks of Astrology by Celeste. I'm an astrologer, coach, intuitive, and a podcaster, and I focus on natal, mundane, and horary astrology. So natal astrology is, you know, the natal chart, talking to people about what's going on with their personality, as well as the timing of all the things that are coming up for them. Mundane, the astrology of world events. I absolutely love correlating what's going above as below and seeing it on the bigger picture so that we can, you know, have more understanding of the timing of things that are going on. And horary is a specific technique where it's divinatory, and I love it. It's awe-inspiring, where the person asks the astrologer the question, and so the person is a querent, and when the astrologer understands the question, they cast a chart. And it's rooted back in your natal chart. It's amazing what goes on, like everything is in sync, and the planets and their speed and who they're talking to will answer the question. So it can be questions about relationships, questions about business. I had one, when am I going to get my smell back, which answered the question. I'm going to record a video about it because I lost my smell because of COVID, but I have it back now. Things like that, like people can ask, you know, health questions and should I buy this house, or will my bid be accepted? Things like that. And yeah, when I understand, I cast the chart and then we talk about it, and it's pretty amazing. I'm the founder of the Moon Mastery Program, a tool for self-discovery and manifesting with more ease. My podcast is called Celestial Insights, and Jen is the producer for that. So if you're an astrologer and you're thinking about, or not an astrologer, anything, you're thinking about a podcast, you can, Jen, you can put your contact information there and people can reach out to her. She is got like some strong Virgo going on, and she is so fantastic, reliable, and just really amazing at what she does. You're welcome. I'm Taurus sun, so I'm very practical and grounded and taking actions that, have an impact on our lives. And an Aries moon, I like to inspire people to take risks like Ashley did yesterday. I'm so proud of her. She's one of my mentees. And yeah, I'm so proud of you. And yeah, taking risks to see our lives bigger than they are and having some fun and joy with what we do. And I'm a Cancer rising. I have a very consultative approach, and I always like for people to feel safe, seen, and protected with me. I'm an avid reader, although now I'm more listening to books on tape. I'm so busy working and doing stuff. I'm a bit of a workaholic, which I'm working on. Yeah. I used to be a Yelp elite. I'm a foodie, but I lost my status during COVID. I have 5 planets in the 11th house. So part of my purpose is I'm a coach, as well as my North nodes in the 9th house. I'm a teacher. Yeah. I love flat-faced dogs, and my little Debo is over here biting on his bone. So hopefully that's not too noisy. Let me know, Jen, if it is, and I'll take it from him. Yeah, I spent over 25 years in corporate and sales, marketing, and business development. So a lot of people come to me for help with their business life, especially with the coaching. And I've used the moon cycles to retire and to pursue my passion, and I believe my purpose of being an astrologer and helping people, move through the cycles of our lives. I've got a biology degree and my MBA, and you can find me at astrologybyceleste.com. And if you subscribe, you can get my free guide for working with the moon cycles. And I send out 2 newsletters a month about the new moon and the full moon. And I already mentioned my podcast. I do readings, I do coaching, I do mentoring, and events. I love doing events. Recently, I've done a wedding, and then I've done corporate, like team building stuff and like birthdays. And if you're local in the Bay Area, we can do them in person. I live in Oakland, California. If not, I can do them on Zoom. Yeah. Chelsea, you have a question? Or maybe you can come off mute if you have a question or put it in the chat. Yeah, and every Sunday and Monday I'm on Instagram Live, and you can check them out. You can see all those other things I do down there where I have a presence. I'm Astrology by Celeste everywhere. So some things, I love this quote by Gianna Parada. Some things scratch the surface where others strike at your soul. And I really feel like there's going to be a lot of like soul stuff going on with this eclipse season. Scorpio is a sign that has some intensity to it. It's the key word for Scorpio. It's like the number 1 word is intense. But I think there can be like a rebirth in a lot of ways for us throughout this Scorpio season. Okay, Debo, you're bothering me with all that. Okay, I took his bone. So first we're going to do a little look back. Then I'm going to talk about some key dates for you to be thinking about. And then we're going to talk about the eclipses and Mars retrograde and do participants' hot takes. So for this session, I'm kind of focused a little bit on the collective stuff. I also did a product for like a more personal view where I did each sun, moon, and rising. That's on my snip feed link. I'll put it in the chat right now. And I'll put it in the email. Oh, it's not there. I'll put it in the email. You can get to it from astrologybyceleste.com if you're interested in that. I'll talk a little bit about that later. And then I'll do as many hot takes as I can. Yeah. So there is this, I want to talk about what we experienced in the collective for the May and April lunar. The April 30th was a solar eclipse in Taurus, and May 15th of this year was a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And I just want to take a little look back and talk about that, because Bernadette Brady, who's this unbelievable astrologer, she's so amazing. She writes a lot about the fixed stars. She also has this book, Predictive Astrology, which Teresa Reed, the tarot lady, she did an update of this book, and Teresa did the forward for it. Yeah, so that was just a delight to see. I know a lot of you people have found me through Teresa, who I just adore. So, but Bernadette wrote this book, and in it, one of the things she's done with her work, there are two different cycles that go with eclipses. The metonic cycles, where you'll have an eclipse on the same date at the same degree, essentially, and they go within the human lifetime, like they're every 18 years, and you can see things unfolding in your chart. I talked a little bit more about that in the product I did. And there's this Saros series, and what she did was she found the birth of each of the Saros series. These are a 1,300-year series where there will be eclipse. It starts either at the North Pole or the South Pole. And then every 19 years, there'll be an eclipse that moves like 9 to 11 degrees. And yeah, these things go on. And she did a delineation of the birth of each of these eclipses. And so for the eclipse season that happened back in May, this is the original chart for that, from May 15th of 1850. It started at the North Pole and it keeps going until 2094. She said, individual relationships to father figures, authority figures will change, or need to take responsibility and control. And so the January 6th hearings were a big part of that, where it was an investigation on the Capitol insurrection riot, all of that kind of stuff, where just really a lot of things came out. And that really speaks to this nature about authority figures needing to take responsibility for actions. Yeah. Also, Roe versus Wade was overturned. This is about authority figures taking control over, women and women's bodies and things like that. It's really interesting. In this original eclipse, Saturn was in Aries, and Saturn is in fall in Aries, meaning Saturn rules authority figures, it rules father figures and things. And when a planet is in fall, it's very weakened. It's not a good place for it to be. It's like domineering potentially, and things for Saturn, things like that. And so I think that really speaks to that. And Saturn at 22.5 Aries was on a world point. So yeah, this is a very potent parent of the eclipses, and it really showed what happened back then. There was also the need to accept commitments possibly occurring from another person's illness or unreliability. And there were so many stories about a lot of my clients, and I saw people, even friends, where they needed to step up and take more responsibility for parents. So many people had broken or fractured bones. That lunar eclipse squared Saturn. Saturn rules bones. That it put pressure on their families, or a lot of people quitting. Saw really a lot of people having a lot of extra work and stuff. So I just wanted to look back to see how the Saros series show up in the cycles, and it's just pretty incredible, I think. Hopefully that was interesting to people. Yeah. And I did a talk about that back then, and you can go find it on my YouTube if you're so interested. But let's get into the topic of today. So, did any questions come up, Jen, before I go on? Okay, I assume not. So Scorpio energy.
I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute Celeste. No, there aren't any questions, just comments is what I said. You can't hear me when I'm on mute.
No, I can't.
I did reply.
No worry. Yeah, I kind of got off on a tangent there. So just wanted to see. Yeah. So Scorpio energy is very intense and provocative. It's very probing. Mars and Pluto rule Scorpio. Mars, the planet of action. Pluto, the higher octave of Mars. It's probing. It delves beneath the surface. It unearths things, and it probes the hidden realms. Yeah, detectives are people with a lot of Scorpio energy are great detectives, they're great scientists, they're great doctors, healers, alchemists. Yeah, the statement for Scorpio is I transform. It's also I desire, because there is this relationship with power and control with the sign of Scorpio. It rules the 8th house of life, death, resurrection cycles, transformation, shared assets, the deep psychological processes. It's a fixed water sign, so it's really deep waters. It's strategic, very motivated, resourceful, intuitive, private. People with strong Scorpio are BS detectors. They know when people are lying. They just have this understanding of what's between the spaces, what's not being said, not just what's being said. It's also very magnetic. It's very sexy and sexual, private as well. On the shadow sides of Scorpio energy are being very vengeful or suspicious or manipulative or cruel, brooding, or like depressive. Sometimes people, really struggle with depression when there's a strong Scorpio energy. So it's a very intense sign, and we're having one of the most intense eclipses ever in this sign. So it's going to be an exciting eclipse season. Yeah. So these are just some dates I want you to take note of. On October 22nd, we're going to have Venus Cazimi at 29 Libra. So a Cazimi is when a planet goes through the heart of the sun, and all the old stories are kind of burned off. Venus rules beauty, relationships, love, art, all these wonderful things. Venus sweetens. Venus is what we can use to magnetize things to each other. It's the come hither energy. It's going to happen at 5:17 p.m. Eastern time. And so on that date, I think it's a wonderful time to get quiet. Just slow your breath. Just take 10 minutes and listen for some messages about how you can bring more love, harmony, and grace into your life. And call in what you want, like put out some wishes. Now it's really interesting, 29 Libra is the last degree of the sign. So there may be something, a world event that happens related to this, but I think in our own lives that this can be a really wonderful time to call in what you want. So, and Venus is going to go to Cazimi, and then Saturn's going to turn direct at 18 Aquarius. So if you have any planets near the 18, like 15 to 20 of the fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius, there you may really feel like a change in the energy where maybe things that have been stalled will start moving forward. Saturn's the Lord of karma, discipline, authority, and time. So yeah, consider lessons learned since June 4th or something like was going on around there that kind of went away. It may get a start again. If you've been really frustrated about how slowly things are going with a project or something, you may get some forward momentum when Saturn starts going direct. And then Scorpio season begins on Sunday. So there's a lot of changing going on next weekend. So next weekend can be a little bit intense. Yeah. And then on as well on the 22nd through May 5th of next year, Mars is out of bounds. And what this means is Mars goes past the limits of the sun's apparent path around the Earth. And when planets do that, they take on a bit of a Uranian energy. So Mars and Gemini out of bounds for until next May. This as well speaks to how chaotic and excitable the energy is, so that we really need to make sure that we do what we can to stay grounded. And Mars is in Gemini in this air sign. So it'll be really a time to examine your relationship with power, control. The serenity prayer should be what we're all thinking about, like what I can know, what I can control and what I can't, and what the difference is between the two. There's a time you can think about, oh, that's Scorpio season. Sorry, I forgot to put different stuff in there for Mars out of bounds. But I think I explained what Mars out of bounds means. Scorpio season is time to examine your relationship with power and control. But Mars rules Scorpio. So it's kind of like this dual thing with power and control and the examination of it, especially when you see people acting Uranian kind of unexpectedly and how you can manage that. Yeah, it's a great time to dive into our shadows for Scorpio season and think about what we'd like to disown and what you can purge. Like doing like a cleanse is a wonderful thing to do with this Scorpio season. There's a lot of like elimination stuff with this. So wonderful time to think about, cleaning up your diet and things like that. If you have anything you'd like to for better health work on. So this eclipse is coming from the South Pole. This is the birth of this eclipse season that we're getting ready to go into. We're actually already feeling it. It started in 1049, and these are the dates of, and you can think about what was going on in your life in these dates, whichever ones you were alive for, and you may see some similarities of things coming up if there was anything big going on for you. And again, this is Bernadette Brady's work talking about this, and it's an intense eclipse. And the reason it's a 6 south versus 6 north is because the south node is near the eclipse, the powerful new moon. And yeah, and the south node is like a drain. It's like a release point. It's the cosmic vacuum cleaner that pulls things out. And so there can also be, with a south node solar eclipse, like actions taken by other people have an impact on your life, whereas the north node solar eclipses are more about your actions and things. But the nature of this eclipse, Bernadette Brady says, is about being forceful and taking power. We know what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, that with the Russian war against Ukraine is all about, all about this scorpionic, like plutonic nature of this. And with this eclipse, Pluto and Mars are in opposition. This is the birth of this eclipse. This is not the eclipse now. It's got a manic flavor to it. And we know Mars is going to be out of bounds, which feels very manic. And there's a lot about relationships, and sudden events like falling in or out of love can happen during this. It's very sexual. There's sudden sexual encounters. At this eclipse, the birth of the eclipse we're having now was next to Venus. So is the one that we're going to be having. And it's equal to Uranus. So it really feels like the connection with this birth eclipse with the one we're having. Yeah, so see if you see these things coming up in your own life about this. and in your relationships. It's a lot about manifesting in relationships as well, or force in relationships. Okay. Yes. Any questions, Jen?
No, one person, I think you said Pluto was the ruler of Mars, and one person was asking about Mars being the ruler of, I'm sorry, Scorpio.
Okay. Mars and Pluto are, Mars is a traditional ruler of Scorpio. So, you know, when astrology, people started using astrology thousands of years ago, there was no awareness of Pluto because the Saturn was the limit. Saturn was the farthest planet we can see with the naked eye. Pluto wasn't discovered until 30 something. So in modern astrology, Pluto is used as the ruler. So they really have a co-rulership of the sign of Scorpio. Depends. Traditional astrologers will only give Mars. And if you, in horary astrology, you don't use those outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because they're more about the collective rather than the personal. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, that was the only one so far.
Okay.
Good. Lots of comments, though. You can look at these later.
Okay. Hopefully people are keeping up with the Sarah cycle. Hopefully I didn't just confuse everyone, but I think they're really interesting and you really can see them, how they play out. But this is the chart for the eclipse that's happening on October 25th at 2 degrees of Scorpio. Now it's a new metonic cycle. So it's totally new about being at 2 Scorpio. And then there's going to be every 18 years, you're going to have a repeat of this. So some things that are going on now, if your chart is really impacted, you may see it again, a flavor of it in 18 years. But the most interesting thing about it is the sun, the moon, and Venus are all conjunct. So yeah, the sun are our conscious mind, the moon, our subconscious mind, Venus, all about relationships, all coming together, whispering secrets to each other about what they want to birth in our life at this time of fated events. Eclipses are when, you know, the sun, moon, and earth are all in alignment, and it's activating the nodes of fate. And this one is the south node. So a wonderful time to release or purge anything that you want to let go of in your relationships. Now, Venus is in the sign of its detriment. So Venus has to work harder to do loving things in its sign of its detriment, which is opposite Taurus, where it's at home. And so, yeah, because there can be some desire for control with Venus in Scorpio, which is not the harmony, balance, and equality that Venus likes when she's in Libra, or like the ease and simplification of when Venus is in Taurus. So, but how can you harness loving and tender feelings? There may be a deep desire for connection. I told people this morning, I met someone last week. So that's who was calling me. So I have a new, what do you call it? Someone is courting me. So we'll see what happens about this. Yeah. But there's a risk for self-indulgent behavior. Venus can like Venus can be about, you know, just kind of doing what you want, being a little, being a little self-indulgent, overeating, that sort of thing. It's related to diabetes, you know, and unwise romantic entanglements with it being in Scorpio. Yeah. Can also, for some people, you know, a lot of people are splitting up. It can be the death of a relationship for some people as well. Yeah, but hopefully most people will just have the loving part of it. Yeah. So another thing that's happening is the moon is what's called parallel Mercury, and moon and Mercury. The moon is parallel and Mercury is conjunct the fixed star Spica, which is at 24 degrees of Libra. So when a planet's parallel, it's at the same level. It's like a conjunction. So the moon conjunct Spica, Mercury conjunct Spica. Even though we're in this really difficult time, I want you to have faith in a brighter future. Spica is, in general, a very positive fixed star. People who have it prominent in their chart can often be great artists or have wealth and success in their lives. When you're doing horary, if you're represented by, if your significator is next to Spica, it gives you like 5 extra points. Yeah, it's generally positive. And yeah, a great time to embrace new technologies as well. Yeah, with Spica. So there's also a grand, yes?
Can you say again, where is Spica? I think Bonnie's asking, and some other people might be wondering too.
24 Libra. So you see here, Mercury's at 22 Libra, so it's conjunct. The moon is parallel. Yeah. So look in your chart. If you have planets, especially between 22 and 26 Libra, that could be really active. With horary, you give yourself 5 on either side, but that's kind of a lot. Yeah.
There are a few questions, Celeste, if you want to do them now or
yes, let's do them now.
So Megan, there are three questions. Megan is asking, can you tell them when the eclipse will end? So maybe how long the effects are.
The effects, it's really interesting. So you can see there's a lot of debate about this. You can really feel like from when the North Node goes into a sign and then you start having those eclipses bouncing back and forth, that's like 18 months where you're going through this evolution of whatever it is being called for you to bring in the house of the North Node and release in the house of the South Node. Eclipse season really starts about 6 weeks before the first eclipse and lasts about 6 weeks after. That's when you'll see most of the intensity, but especially, you know, a week before to 2 weeks after. Like November is really, yeah, late October, November is when most of the events will happen.
Okay, and then, are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Do the, Ava's asking, do the degrees affect the points? For example, the MC. I think Ava's asking if it's near her MC, does that affect?
Yes, yes. So if the eclipse is near, if 2 Scorpio is near one of your planets, especially the personal planets of the Sun, Moon, Mars, Venus, and Mercury, but also any of them, or any of your points, your ascendant, your midheaven, your descendant, or your IC, yes, they're very important. Or your nodes. Even if it's like near one of your asteroids or something, you can see stuff. But the ascendant is, if it's near your midheaven, you're probably experiencing lots of changes and flow in your career, status, reputation, as well as your family, home family foundations. Yeah.
Great. And then, can Pluto in the first be about stepping into our own power?
Yes. People with Pluto in the first is it about transiting your first house? Yeah, that can be, that's a huge life change, like where you're probably letting a lot of excess go, but Pluto, the power's on your side. If you have it natally, you're probably a person that you probably have some intensity to you. People may be very, very drawn to you. They may try to, yeah, feel like you're the one who's like exerting power, or they try to exert power over you. Yeah, it's really powerful to have Pluto in the first. You maybe have some self-healing capabilities and a lot of other stuff. And
another question just came in. Does the grand air trine take on Scorpio-like qualities? Or how does the energy flow since Mercury in Libra is being ruled by Venus in Scorpio and Mars in Gemini is ruled by Mercury in Libra?
Does the grand trine take on a scorpionic flavor?
This is from Jasmine.
Oh, hi, Jasmine. Yeah. I still think this is a grand air trine. I was hearing someone talk about that Mars, because it's reporting, you know, Mars is reporting into Mercury. Yeah, I feel like it's still a grand air trine where there's a flow of ideas. It's the ability to connect with others and give support. Yeah, I think I lost my train of thought with the question. Read it again, Jen.
Sure. Does the grand air trine take on Scorpio-like qualities? Or how does the energy flow since Mercury in Libra is being ruled by Venus in Scorpio and Mars in Gemini is ruled by Mercury in Libra?
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I understand what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I think the grand air trine still takes on the flow of just ideas. But yeah, Mars is reporting into Mercury, which just makes it, I think that makes like it even a little more like great for like connecting with people. There is a risk with trines of like this fast flowing energy. So fast flowing into conflict too. Yeah. Yeah. And Venus reporting into Mars, like relationship conflicts, especially fighting, like verbal altercations are more likely with relationships and things like that because of that. Yeah. But I think it's really a call to watch out for getting too scattered with this grand air trine. Use it wisely to connect with others, give support, a flow of ideas, writing, journaling, that sort of thing. Watch out for getting anxious or catastrophizing. Yeah. I hope that answered the question. Any others, Jen?
That's all the general questions. One person did ask a really specific question about her chart, and I said she could put her name in for a reading. So
yeah, let's do a reading for that.
But no other general questions.
Yeah. So in terms of world events, I've been rooting for Putin to be taken out for a while now, and well, yeah. Anyway, his chart is rectified. It's got a DD rating. So typically I wouldn't use a chart with this kind of rating, but because, he's such an omnipresent force for all of us with the threats of, nuclear weapons and all of this kind of stuff, I thought it would be a good thing to talk about his chart, because the rectified chart, and I've been watching events happen, and it seems like I think this could be a correct chart for him. Anyway, his ascendant is 3 Scorpio, and we're really seeing that this could be a great, hopefully, ending for him, where I think the Sun, Moon, and Venus might be like his own people, take him out or force him to resign or whatever. Yeah. So that star Spica at 24 Libra, which is activated at this eclipse by being parallel to the moon, and the moon is the people in mundane astrology, and conjunct Mercury. In his natal chart, he has his Neptune Mercury conjunction right on that. Yeah. And so Vivian Robson has written a great book about fixed stars, and he talks about how Spica gives success, renown, and riches, and a sweet disposition for some, but it also, the shadows of it can be unscrupulousness, and obviously he's very unscrupulous. Also can be unfruitfulness or injustice to the innocents, and we've seen so many atrocities that's been going on with this war. And Astrology King is a great website, astrologyking.com, that he's done a lot about fixed stars. And he attributes this to George Noonan. I don't know who that is, but apparently he's an astrologer. But he said, when prominent in charts of eclipses, when Spica is prominent in charts of eclipses, it portends events concerning kings or heads of states, and in this regard can be an ill omen. So hopefully it's an ill omen for Putin. So let's see what happens around October 25th, November 8th, the next month. I mean, there was something this week about how the president of, I think it was Turkmenistan or something like that, was dressing down Putin in a public forum. He's lost a lot of respect from other world leaders, as well as, what's going on with all of his people trying to escape from being drafted and all of this kind of stuff. So hopefully this eclipse season will bring an end to him. Saturn's on his north node right now, and Saturn can bring consequences. Saturn can, be the end of things. We'll see. And this Mars retrograde in his 8th house. And it's stationing, like right now, it's on his, if this is the right time, near his part of fortune. But we'll see. This will be an example of being able to time his chart. Yeah. So Mars retrograde.
Celeste, there's a couple of questions. Can I butt in here?
Of course, yes.
So one person, I thought this was a good question, was wondering what a DD rating is, if you could explain that.
Okay, so the Rodin ratings are about the birth chart, so a public people. So AA is like the best it can be, like you've got their birth certificate, the time is accurate. A is like from memory, and then from there, it goes down in terms of accuracy. So DD means there's no certainty about the time because it's been estimated, and yeah, so it just means that it may be the wrong time. There's even been talk that he was from the KGB, that it could be even like a wrong date or fake date. But I've been watching his chart, and I've seen things like timed to the day that seem like that this feels pretty accurate. But we'll see if anything, especially if anything happens on October 25th. Yeah, the day of the eclipse, or right around there. We'll see. That affects his first house, himself, his identity, his physical body, that sort of thing.
And then the other question, Celeste, is can you explain what parallel means?
Okay, a parallel it's called declination. So longitude is like the degrees in terms of 24 degrees Libra. It's a measure of like latitude. You can think about when you look at the moon and stars, like lately we've been really seeing Jupiter's been very bright in the sky, and you can see Jupiter and the moon like are at different levels. So if they were at the same level, that would be parallel. If there are different levels, they're not. It's about north and south. Yeah, and so when things are contra-parallel, it's like they can be at the same degree, but one's north, one's could be like 23 north, the other could be like 23 south. That's called contra-parallel, and that's more, it has a little bit of an oppositional flavor, whereas parallel is like conjunction. So if you have parallels in your chart that you aren't aware of, you can look them up. You have like secret conjunctions between planets. And I'll show when we do charts. Remind me, Jen, please, to give an example, show how it looks on the chart to do parallel.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah. Any others?
No, sorry. I was on mute again. No other questions.
Okay. Yeah. So Mars is going to go retrograde in the sign of Gemini from October 30th through to January 12th. And Mars rules our assertion, our drive, how we take action, the way we walk into a room. It's a very primal energy. Like Mars is not concerned with anyone else, as opposed to Venus, who wants harmony, balance, and people to get along. Venus is about connection. Mars is about like taking. Mars' job is to separate and sever. So you can think about competition, where you're running a race, only one person can be first. It's considered malefic in traditional astrology, as well as Saturn, because it takes away, where Jupiter and Venus are benefic because they bring things together. They are life affirming, whereas Mars and Saturn, take away from life. Now, Gemini is a mutable air sign, so mutable, lots of changeable energy. It rules all things communication and transportation. And in the product that I did that's on my snip feed, I go through like a bunch of things both Mars and Gemini rule. Retrogrades are just optical illusions. The planets don't stop and move backwards. It'll look like Mars will stop at 25 degrees of Gemini. So if you have planets or points in your chart that are around 25 degrees of Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, or Sagittarius, you may feel this, like something may happen. It's really important for you to slow down around this time. So when planets go retrograde, there's delays, there are frustrations, reversals. Oh, we were going to do this. Oh, now we're not. One of my followers who came to my live this morning, they had this trip of a lifetime planned, but her husband hurt himself. So a reversal. Now they can't go on their trip of a lifetime. We're already in the shadow of Mars retrograde. So you may already be experiencing this. Yeah. There can also be damage to topics related to what the planets and signs rule. So there'll be a lot of traffic accidents, hopefully nothing horrific like, a plane crash or anything somewhere. But we'll see a lot of like people fighting with words and things like that. There's been a lot of handgun violence in the United States, and even like stabbing violence. There was a guy, Gemini rules children, a guy in, I think it was Taiwan, who killed several children and stuff, such horrible thing. So yeah, so we need to be aware that Mars is going retrograde. There's a potential for like people to act impulsively and reactively, and just especially just start saying stuff. Yeah, so keep that in mind during those dates. Now, what I think we will see in the collective is stuff around elections and money. I think we're going to see the Mars retrograde might have something to do with like a bubble bursting in economies and things like that. We know we're dealing with all this inflation and supply chain issues and rising prices with gas and all of this kind of stuff. So this is when Mars stations retrograde, and I cast the chart. You can cast the chart of when it's exact in the location of your capital of your country to see like how it will impact your country. I live in the US, so I did the US. And you can see that Venus is in Scorpio, it's in fall, and it's also what's called combust, meaning after a planet goes cazimi, and when it's within like 16 degrees either side of the sun, 16 minutes, not degrees. After it gets away from that, after it changes the degree, it's what's called combust. It's like blinded by the sun, and it's not acting as well up to eight degrees apart. So it's being combust, and its sign of fall is not good for wealth, finances, money. Venus rules money. And it's conjunct the south node. So it's between the sun and the south node, symbolizing that potentially there could be some financial stuff. It's also in the 12th house. The 12th house rules voting, according to Rex Bills, who's one of the foremost authorities. He wrote the rulership book. I think because you vote by secret ballot is why he gives it to the 12th house. I feel like it also has a third house kind of flavor to it. So I feel like this is symbolic of maybe potential problems with voting. We know the midterm elections in the US are going to be very contentious, as well as Brazil is having their election on this date. And there's, the President Bolsonaro there is gearing up to just declare victory, even if he won, even if he loses. You see Mars here is conjunct the 8th house of shared assets, debts, taxes, death, in a quincunx with Pluto. Quincunx, this is a 150-degree aspect. And Pluto's in the 2nd house of money, values, resources. So this is another reason why I think it may have something to do with a big financial news. So quincunxes can move us into new situations. Now, it's interesting, it doesn't perfect until next year, next March, but they're in quincunx, and then Mars refrains and moves away from Pluto as it goes retrograde back to 9 degrees of Gemini. So yeah, the moon is also in the 2nd house of finances in Capricorn, which is a sign of its detriment. And so this as well makes me concerned about about money. And Jupiter rules wealth. It goes back into Pisces near Neptune. And Neptune's also associated with voting. And then because there's a dream, like you're hoping for things for the people who represent you to bring things into existence. They make all these promises. Yeah. And so you can see Jupiter is squaring wealth, the 2nd house cusp of the US finances. So we'll see what happens. But I think the big stories are going to be about voting, like in funny business going on, because Mars is in a square to Neptune. So this deception, Neptune rules deception. Neptune rules it's a planet of illusions and delusions. Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of funny business going on, or accusations of things. And yeah, voting and money, I think, are going to be the 2 big stories. Anything come up, Jen?
Yeah, 2 good questions. One is just about, is combust 16 minutes separating? Is that the amount you use for combust? 16 minutes?
Cazimi, I use 16 minutes for Cazimi. So Cazimi, that's when the planet is right in the heart of the sun, when it's a rebirth. The sun burns off all the old story, and there's like a rebirth, a start of the new cycle. That's Cazimi, and it's thought to be very fortunate. And it's 16 minutes. So you have the degree and then the minutes. So it would be within 16 here. Although some people say, as long as it's the same degree, they consider it Cazimi. So yeah, that 29 degrees of Libra is where Venus is going to go Cazimi. Combust is 8 degrees, 8.3 degrees away, either side of the sun. It's combust because the sun takes up like 20 degrees. It's so huge. When you're so close to the sun, it's like you're invisible. Yeah, you can't be seen. That can be the symbology. If you're combust in, if the person who asks the question is combust in a horary chart, it's signified by a planet that's combust. That's not a good thing. Yeah.
And then along these lines, Caitlin's wondering, how often do Cazimis happen?
So Venus makes this beautiful 8-year cycle. It goes into the sun twice a year, I believe, typically, where while it's approximately twice a year. Let me find out the exact days. Like the outer planets, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and all the rest, they go once a year, because when the sun comes to them, they go once a year and go Kazemi when the sun is in their sign. But Mercury and Venus, it can be multiple times a year, like twice, because there's an inferior conjunction and a superior where the planets direct or retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Mercury direct, because Venus and Mercury travel very close to the sun. Mercury can never be more than 28 degrees from the sun, Venus 48 degrees from the sun, I believe. So yeah, I'll put that, I'll see if I'll put that in the email. How often do they? I think it's no more than twice a year, Venus and Mercury. Mars out, it's once.
And then a couple more questions, Celeste. One is it a bad time to travel with Mars retrograde?
It depends on your chart. It's like, I personally think, especially around the stations, it's not great, but it's not necessarily bad. It really depends on your chart. And it's because it's Mars square Neptune, like you could travel and have a great time, but maybe you miss a connection or something like that. There could just be problems, reversals, just delays, restrictions, but it doesn't mean your whole trip is going to be terrible. It could just be like some unexpected hiccups, especially because Mars is retrograde in Gemini, which is about transportation. So that's something. I went to this great, I heard this great talk by Maurice Fernandez, where he feels like Mars retrograde is an opportunity to take some risks, to do things differently than you've ever done before. So let's not look at it as just negative. It's a time gives us the opportunity to slow down and reflect if we use it well. But Gemini is this mutable squirrel energy that we can be so busy that mistakes happen. So yeah, if you do travel, I would say triple check everything, all your reservations before you go.
Okay, a couple more questions, Celeste. They keep popping up, which is great.
Yes.
One person is wondering, when you're looking at a politician's chart, do you think there's an ideal placement for their natal Neptune? That's from Andrea.
Politician's chart, their natal Neptune. Interesting.
They mentioned, and I don't have it in front of me, but they mentioned that they had been working in politics and had never thought of Neptune and politics together and that kind of thing. So,
well, people with strong Neptunes have the ability to cast the spell over the collective. Yeah. So I would think at an angle, or maybe at the near. I would think near your midheaven, or the 11th house has a lot to do with politics. Yeah, I think about Pluto even more with politics. Pluto having the ability to obtain power, like Pluto on your ascendant or at your midheaven or in your 11th house, could be really powerful for a politician. Yeah. But if you have Mercury trine Neptune, you could be able to really speak persuasively to help people like have this vision of what you'd like things to be. Yeah.
Okay. And then Daviel is wondering, how does Mars rules my chart, but I was born with it retrograde. Does that affect how to interpret retrogrades? And I thought that was a good question for everyone, because we sometimes talk about how when you're born with Mercury retrograde, you may not be as affected when Mercury goes through retrograde period. So what do you say about that with Mars? So
yeah, maybe you'll feel a lot more comfortable with Mars retrograde. It's good to take notice of it. Take notice of it. Yeah, because Mars retrograde, there's a lot of internal stuff with that, if you're born with it. So yeah, think about like how you take action, and maybe if there's something you've been doing that you wish you could do things differently, this Mars retrograde may be a great time for you to do things differently, and you might feel comfortable with that energy.
Okay, I think that is all of the questions for now.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the big kahuna. This lunar eclipse is at 16 degrees of Scorpio on November 8th. Now, it's the third in this metonic cycle. They're typically 4 or 5 in a metonic cycle, so you can really see them in your life. So you can think about if you were alive in 1984 or 2003, there were eclipses at 16 Taurus. And so activating the same place in your chart where the sun was spotlighting the house opposite Taurus, sun was spotlighting your Scorpio house, moon in your Taurus house in this big lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipses can often be like internal, but I think this one we're going to see a lot of external stuff as well, potentially in our own lives and things. So there may be something similar that comes up. Now it won't be the same thing, but it could have like a rhyme or a rhythm to whatever happened back in near these dates, if the eclipses, especially if you have planets around, maybe 12 to 20 of the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius. Yeah. So you can see the moon and the sun are very close to the nodes of fate. Moon is at the same degree as Uranus. This is part of what makes it so intense. So Uranus is the planet of shocks and awes. There can be like potentially like natural disasters and things happening around this day. And as well as at this eclipse, it is in a square with Saturn. The sun and the moon are squaring Saturn here at 18. So very close, 2 degrees. Yeah, and Mercury is combust, and it's election day. So this calls for like ballots. Mercury rules ballots, Mercury rules paper. All kinds of funny business, because this is the date of the midterm elections in the United States. Now, a nice thing about this in our own lives is Venus is trine Neptune. Venus here at 20 Scorpio, trine Neptune at 22 Pisces. So this could be a fairy tale romance. We'll see what happens with my romance. Yeah. But make sure that you are not wearing rose-colored glasses. And I have been telling myself, fools rush in. That's my motto. Go slow. So take your time if you're getting to know someone new. Now, Venus trine Neptune could also be wealth going, a little bit down the tubes. So we'll see if something happens around that. But this is intense. We've been dealing with this Saturn square Uranus for 2 years, about 2 years now. And it's like breaking free of restrictions. So if there's something that you feel like is holding you back, this could be a great time to like release it, or make decisions around releasing it and starting to take action, like a job that's not working for you anymore, things like that. This is very take this job and shove it kind of energy. And Taurus and Scorpio are about our resources. So yeah, it can be unexpected big events where structures and systems break down, like power outages. Hopefully it's not like some cyber attack on election day or something like that. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's also the North Node at 13 Taurus is conjunct the fixed star Menkar, which is kind of a nasty star. It's the mouth of the whale. Now, there can be collective insight or chaos with that. And asteroid Niobe, it's right on asteroid Niobe, and this is an asteroid that's active that can be around the death of children. So this could be potentially Congress taking action about gun violence, or there could be a bad event where children are harmed or something like that as well, or discovery around something. It was active in Canada when Canada had discovered, I think they discovered mass graves or something of these children that had been taken from reservations that were Native Canadians, or I don't know what you call Indigenous people, I think you call it in Canada. Anyway, yeah, so hopefully that won't be, that could be, but yeah, it's a nasty eclipse. I mean, it's even yeah, I heard Rick Levine talking about it. He's like, he's never seen anything so intense that there's the potential for chaotic stuff, because Uranus is, there's no it's like amoral. I mean, it can bring wonderful things. You can win the lottery, you can have unexpected romance. Like Uranus is often active when you meet someone, or it can be like you get hit by lightning. There's no, it doesn't, you can't, you know, it can go either way. Yeah. Were there any questions about that, Jen?
There was one, let's see here. Chelsea's asking, basically, Celeste, if you have your own natal nodal axis in Taurus and Scorpio, or big personal planets in Taurus, Scorpio, how does that affect you?
Yeah. So this is going to be an important time for you. If your nodes are in Taurus and Scorpio, there can be people coming into your life that can be taking you on a high road or a low road. So you want to be, you know, conscious of all the people you meet around this time. It depends what planets it's in, but this is important for you to think about your planets in those signs and doing, like, as much as you can, simplifying. The call for all of us with the North Node in Taurus is to try to simplify things. How can we release control and accept what we can't control? How can we be, how can we take one step in front of the other and be methodical with the plotting forward motion nature of the sign of Taurus, you know, doing the work. How can we heal old trauma is a wonderful thing to do with the South Node, clearing out like some trauma in the sign of Scorpio. But you're probably releasing things potentially from your Scorpio house, and like some gains coming in your Taurus house.
Okay, and then a couple of people are asking if you could just repeat the whale of the mouth of the whale thing again.
That's the star Menkar. It's a fixed star called Menkar, Menkar. It's called the mouth of the whale, and it has to do with the collective unconscious. Like you can get caught up by the collective unconscious or caught up in collective events. Now it can bring insight, but there also can be things like associated with some chaos. The ancients would, you know, document events that happened when there were planets and things at these stars.
One more question came in, Celeste. Do you want to,
Yeah.
someone's asking about their MC in Taurus. Do you want to mention if your ascendant, descendant, MCIC is?
Yeah, so you're like, you're probably having like changes at work. Hopefully they're positive with your MC in Taurus. It depends on the degree. If it's at 16, there could be like, yeah, you could get a promotion. Yeah. Or you could get just more responsibilities with this because it's squaring Saturn. Or like your boss could change. The 10th house rules the mother as well, or something could come up around your mother. Yeah. It also could be your, like if you have a boss, that they would fall in the 10th house. It's your career status, reputation. So there can be things coming. Or in the South Nodes in Scorpio, maybe you decide to move or something like that, or redecorate your house or do things around that, or something goes on in your family. Yeah. eclipses are wild cards. They can fall like a snowflake, or, you know, the pot at the end of the gold of the rainbow, or they can be like an avalanche. Like, yeah, someone quits in your job and now you've got 10 times more work or something like that. Yeah. But it's probably impacting your work and your home. Yeah.
Couple more questions came in, Celeste. Malika's asking, with Saturn going direct, is that going to impact any of these upcoming eclipses?
Well, yeah, Saturn's moving forward. I'm glad Saturn's going direct. So there's like this kind of forward momentum. It's still moving very slow, because when a planet goes direct, it takes a while to pick up speed. So that 18 degrees, it's just been grounding there. And yeah, that Saturn square Uranus is in impacted, but a planet direct is better than a planet retrograde. Like, retrograde planets can cause more havoc. So I'm glad it's finally going direct.
And then one last question, Celeste, about, I guess, to make it more general for everyone, I'll ask it. Why is it that sometimes with Uranus, there's auspicious relationship to wealth versus just, you know?
Yeah, Uranus brings sudden things. It's the Magi astrologers talk a lot about how it is, they see it as a benefic. Some other astrologers say it's malefic, but it's surprise. It's the surprise aspect. It's also the great awakener. It can awaken you to things that you weren't aware of, and like a different way of being. It's also about freedom and individuality. Like winning the lotto, you can free yourself from your job. So yeah, there's positive, it's like I was saying, it's amoral. It's not necessarily trying to bring you good or bad things, but it's like changing things. It's breaking away from different ways of being. It's surprise, and it can be serendipitous, and it can be positive or not.
Cool. I think we're caught up on questions.
Yeah. So this is the Sabian symbol for this lunar eclipse. With Sabian symbols, you read the one up. So for 16 up to 17 degrees of Taurus, it's a symbolic battle between swords, the disciples of might, and torches, the disciples of enlightenment. And you can really feel like the pen is mightier than the sword kind of imagery with that. Yeah, you can think about like there are battles going on all over the world in terms of this, and like how can we keep moving towards the light and enlightenment despite forces of domination just trying to take things by force. It really relates to what Bernadette Brady said about the first eclipse in this series, the Saros series. And Linda Hill is an astrologer who has written a great book about the Sabian symbols, where so the Sabian symbols were when Elsie Wheeler, this blind clairvoyant, and Mark Edmund Jones, an astrologer, sat under a tree in San Diego in the 1920s. And every degree of the zodiac, she channeled an image, and he wrote them all down. And so Linda Hill's written a great book where you can go to, I think her site is sabiansymbols.com, and you can look up your sun, moon, and rising, or all of your planets, and see how they relate to your life. Yeah. They're really powerful. So yeah, this is the talk about battles. So a big thing I think about this eclipse season is about the voting. From October 30th to November 14th, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus will one by one oppose Uranus, then square Saturn, then trine Neptune. So there just feels like this, like sudden events, and then like constriction, hardship, delays, restrictions, and then like also deception with Neptune. But Neptune can also be positive. There's also Mars is retrograde. Mars is out of bounds. It's just a lot of excitement, a lot of chaotic energy. We're having the US midterms, the Brazil presidential election, both are poised to be full of accusations, potential crimes, fighting, challenging the results, corruption, saying the person who lost won, and alliances with Venus in Scorpio created for deception. Yeah. We're having, like, there was more January 6th hearings talking about the alliances between like the Oath Keepers and all these groups and the Trump administration and whatnot. Yeah. And yeah, what was going on behind the scenes. And we're going to see it in these elections. There's also, I feel like there's a lot of, oh, you can't see the meteor. The photo didn't show up. Sorry. Anyway, it was a picture of a meteor, because there's been scientific advancements, I think, are going to be a part of this. With Scorpio is associated with, I mean, great scientists can be Scorpios because they're willing to like keep going at a problem, keep probing it until you find the solution, finding new strategies. And there was this great, there was a missile launch or something launched at a meteor, just a test to see if we had like a doomsday scenario, like when the meteor came and killed the dinosaurs and stuff, would we be able to knock it off course? And it was, the rocket or whatever was fired 7 months before it actually had impact with the meteor. So, and yeah, it was successful, whatever. And there's all this stuff around space travel and things like that, where people, I don't think just normal people need to go into space, wasting resources, but whatever. But I think we'll continue to see a bunch of exciting scientific advancements related to this eclipse season, the global conflicts, but there's also fighting oppression. Saturn square Uranus, the people rising up, revolting against Saturn, the authority. What we're seeing with the women in Iran, which is, you know, hopefully it's going strong and it'll keep going, will it make actually real change for themselves. I'm concerned about this US-China clash over Taiwan. I'm concerned about November 8th, like China, you know, taking action in Taiwan. We know this Russia-Ukraine story is going on. And the weather extremes as well with the climate crisis. This Pakistan floods displaced over 30 million people. I think Pluto next year is going into Aquarius, and that's going to bring like a transformation of the collective. Yeah, people moving all over the place because of the climate crisis, and, you know, homes being washed away, or, you know, whatever things. Food shortages, we know that's a big thing going on, and the refugee crisis worsening. Yeah. Neptune and Pisces. Pisces is about like refugees, people without a home. Neptune and Pisces really feels like that. And Jupiter and Neptune met in Pisces on April 12th, like symbolizing, Jupiter makes everything bigger, symbolizing this big crisis of refugees, people without a home, not just what had been going on in Ukraine and the floods in Pakistan, and there's other places. Japan had problems. Florida had this horrific hurricane. Puerto Rico, Cuba. I mean, it's just a lot of extreme weather. Yeah. So, any questions, Jen?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. And can you stay over a little bit?
Yes, no problem.
Okay, good. I think we're going to have to do a little extra because there's so much I love. There are a lot of great questions and stuff. Yeah. So this is the medicine to thrive through this time. Like, do what you can to get yourself extra sleep and extra rest. That Mars retrograde is going to excite your chart no matter what in some ways. And the more you can do about being mindful, like adding in maybe a mindful practice, even if it's just 10 minutes in the morning to kind of ground yourself from that chaotic air energy, like breath, yoga, Pilates, have a mantra for yourself about how you're going to move through the day, something that reminds you. Slow down, leave early for things, expect everything to take more time. If you're someone like you're going on a trip and you like to, I've known people who like to get in the airport like a minute before the gates close to the plane. I really wouldn't recommend you do that sort of thing around this time. Slow down, drive carefully, walk carefully, leave early. Gemini, Mars and Gemini, you often have to do things twice. Gemini likes to do things twice. It's a double-bodied sign. So yeah, keep that in mind. Also, Mars and Gemini is an air sign about the intellect. Flex your mental muscles. You can do like word games, board games. I like Wordle. I've been doing that a lot. There's also that Sudoku or Scrabble or Words with Friends and all that kind of stuff. It's really a great time to eat healthier, maybe do a cleanse. I love this Prolon. I have a link in my snip feed if you're interested. It's like this 5-day fast. I've got it. I just have to figure out when I'm going to do it, where it's a fast mimicking diet. You eat food, but it really is a cleansing, get your metabolism going and whatnot, but just eat healthier, drink more water, that sort of thing. Yeah, don't leave anything to the last minute. The early bird gets the worm. Think about your cybersecurity. I've noticed like a lot of these phishing schemes are very getting more and more clever, trying to get you to click on things in your emails. Think about updating passwords. If your password is your middle name and your kid's name, I mean, it's really time to update these things. And yeah, be very careful of cyber schemes. If you follow me on Instagram, people are constantly trying to make fake accounts pretending they're me. I never slide into your DMs. Neither does any reputable astrologer do that. We have websites and things. Also, check your voter registration. Places are purging the rolls, so make sure you're registered to vote. You can just Google it. Yeah. And also ask and offer help. The air signs want to connect. We've got that grand trine in air active. So if you see someone struggling, offer to help them, or if you are struggling or just need help, be more receptive to getting help from others. Okay. So I created this forecast and oracle readings for all 12 zodiac signs. So there's another hour I did a talk, and I did it on Friday when the moon was next to Mars. So I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. I've given all kinds of information. I think it went really well. You can let me know if you get it. It's only $22. You can get it from this link, my snipfeed.co, Astrology by Celeste. And I talk there and go more deeper into a bit of Mars retrograde and the eclipses. And then for each sign, I did a 3-card oracle reading, a card from 3 different decks. And then I show you which house each of the things are in. Mars is in the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse based on your sun, moon, or rising. Yeah, or if you know your degrees, you can figure it out. But I recommend looking at your sun sign and your rising sign, especially to see how this eclipse can show up in your life. And then these are a bunch of resources. I use Solar Fire software, and I have a discount code, Celeste15, if you're looking to get a more professional software. These are all wonderful books. You can just take a snapshot. I don't want to spend time on this. Okay. So Moon Mastery 201 class starts on Monday, the 24th. So if you've already taken 101, you can take 201. There's going to be, this is the syllabus. You can also see this on my classes page, where it's 90 minutes. It's taught Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific time for 6 weeks, where we're going to go deeper into advanced lunar planning to know what's going on and being able to predict what's coming up for you based on your lunations and your natal chart, as well as a deeper understanding of the nodes, eclipses, astrology in action, and the progressions. And you need to have taken Moon Mastery 101 or have a solid foundation in astrology. You got to understand the signs, planet houses kind of stuff in order to take it. And by the end of the course, you'll have a deeper understanding of astrology and the unfolding of the cycles and learning to forecast your own chart with the moon cycles. And you get this gorgeous set of zodiac altar cards, 20% off any readings or coaching programs with me. You get, you pick. And then you get a free digital calendar for 2023. And you have for a fast action bonus, the first 5 people who sign up will get a free Ask Me Anything, where I'll record a video. You ask me anything and I'll record a video about your natal chart. I'm going to drop this in the chat. Let's see if I can pull the chat up. Here we go. So here's Moon Mastery. If you want to take Moon Mastery, there's the link to that. And I'll drop my snip feed if you want to buy the $22 thing. So they're both there in the chat. And so Moon Mastery 201, class starts on the 24th. You can do one payment of $530 or 2 payments of $300. Okay.
Celeste, can I ask if Danae had asked a while back about, can I take this as an opportunity to request a retrograde course or workshop? They're very interested in that. Do you talk about retrograde?
Yes, and I did a Mars retrograde talk with Wise Skies Collective. I will put that in the email follow-up.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah. So you can purchase that if you want. I went deep into Mars retrograde for that. Yeah. Retrogrades are interesting times. Yeah. And a course, I haven't thought about that. I will think about a course. Yeah. Mars is the planet of doing. Yes, it is. Yeah. Any other questions, Jen?
No, that's all.
Okay.
Lots of comments throughout. So yeah, you'll have to read these later.
I will read them later. I will send out the recording. Try to do it tonight. I'll try to do it tonight. Okay. Let me look. Random number generator. What's the number you have, Jen?
Okay, I have 44 people.
Okay. Number 17.
Okay, let me scroll up. Number 17 is Gabriel Guzman. Are you still here, Gabriel?
Yes.
Awesome. So Celeste, Gabriel's info is November 15th, 1994.
November. Oh, good.
And Gabriel, do you have a time of birth?
Yes, 4:50 p.m.
And where?
Queens, New York.
Queens. Yeah, sorry, Queens.
Okay. This is great. Okay, let me show your chart, Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, there we go. I want to first show what it looks like with, let me do this. I want to show what declinations look like. Oh. I put the wrong thing. Okay. So you can't see declinations on the natal wheel. You see them over here. So this is like the aspects, declination. So that's the parallel, which is the two lines. The contraparallel is the two lines with a line between. So Gabriel has his sun parallel Jupiter. And next to Jupiter. So you have a really big Jupiter conjunction to the sun. Now, do you feel lucky, Gabriel?
Sometimes. I mean, it's funny that I was the first one chosen, and number 17 is my mom's birthday on Monday. And I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, and 17 is an 8, 7 plus 1, a manifestation number. Well, you have two things. You have Jupiter conjunct your sun, but you have Saturn contraparallel your moon, which could mean feelings of like Saturn and Jupiter are opposites. Jupiter brings abundance, Saturn takes away, or maybe think about how you can recognize the abundance in your life. Like maybe emotionally, you're not really connected to it. You can think about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So some things, let me just pull. So that's what the parallels look like. You can find them on Astro or anything. Oh, you have your Saturn parallel Spica. So that, yeah, this eclipse can be like especially important for you. Now, you are a sun in Scorpio, a moon in Aries, and a Taurus rising. Interesting. So you've really been impacted by, have you been feeling like there are changes in your identity going on? You're also in your nodal reversal. So a lot is going on. Do you feel like you're clearing out things or having to let go of things in your daily life and things like that?
It's, I feel like there have been like subtle changes, but I feel like nothing super impactful. But I think I am kind of having this reflection or questioning about identity. So I guess that could make sense.
Yeah, because the South Node is going through Scorpio and it's clearing things out. Now you have so much sixth house energy. The sixth house is the house of service, is the house of duties. It's the house of like small pets, employees falls in here. What kind of work do you do? Do you do something in healthcare?
I don't. I'm a teacher.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Teacher.
Yeah, with all of that Scorpio energy, let me see, your sun's in your sixth house and you're a teacher. That makes me think Mercury. What do you teach? Do you teach science or anything?
Well, I teach a variety. I guess I teach geography and history. And I teach it in English abroad. So I'm in Spain.
Okay. Was it sudden when you moved to Spain?
Extremely sudden, yes.
You have Uranus in your ninth house, like
Yeah, it was extremely sudden.
yeah, like you just took off and went there.
And
Yeah.
never went back. Yes.
So nothing big happened this summer, May 15th, around then?
I did get a promotion. And so I do have more responsibilities, whereas like this year I can tell I can't catch a break. Like any free time I have at work, I have something to do.
You've got Saturn going through your 10th house. So
Yeah.
Saturn brings responsibilities, it brings extra duties, but it's about achievement after hard work. So you got promoted around the time that there was a lunar eclipse where, yeah, there was a lunar eclipse that squared Saturn. So that makes total sense. Something could come up with this eclipse around your job. The sixth house also has a lot to do with the money we make from the job we do. So yeah, there could be potential for even more responsibilities.
Okay.
Yeah. And next year you're having your Saturn return. So where Saturn comes back to the place where it was when you were born. And yeah, Saturn's in your 11th house of groups. Are you involved in groups, like any kind of leadership in groups?
I guess in my job, the promotion was I'm a coordinator now.
Okay. Yeah, I think you have, yeah, I think you have leadership. Um, you have leadership capabilities in terms of, and you can be very, with all this Scorpio, you can be very strategic.
I am very, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have, and like you're in what's called your nodal reversal. So the north node right now is at 13 Taurus and the south node's at 13 Scorpio. So experiences or people can come into your life that show you how you are on your journey towards, which for you, it may be relatively easy because your north node is next to your sun, embodying that Scorpio energy of being able to be the eagle, like flying above and being very strategic and that sort of thing. Also being the phoenix, like did everything fall, like was part of the reason you moved because you had some disillusionment? What was, or no?
Yeah, I graduated and I waited last minute to apply and I couldn't find a job and I was kind of, I fell into like that postgraduate depression.
Ah, yeah. And then you,
Yeah. I just
yeah.
got up and moved when I knew that this was a possibility.
Okay, how phenomenal. Yeah. So yeah, and a lot of, really pay attention to who's coming into your life, because with the sun next to the north node, like you can have allies that'll pull you into higher positions, or pull you into new opportunities for yourself and everything. So yeah.
Can I ask a very general question that so you don't have to go deep into it? I guess, would you say, I mean, based on your expert opinion, is my chart from what it looks like and the eclipses, is this more career focused versus relationship focused, I guess, during this next
Okay.
2 years or period of eclipses?
Well, Saturn is opposite your Mars right now. Let's see. Let me look at the bi-wheel. Okay, so are you in a relationship now?
No.
Okay, so it's good that the South Node is out of your 7th house, so that's a good time. Yeah, oh, it's on your Venus.
But it's retrograde. I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, your Venus is retrograde. You've got just a lot of you've got you get a lot of learnings through your relationships. Yeah, it could be a love. Is it love, or well, it could be a love relationship, because Mercury rules your 5th house of like dating.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mars rules your 7th house of partners. Saturn's opposite Mars, which kind of takes a little bit away from that. I'd like you to have more work success.
Okay, so I should be just focusing on work right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can date, but I'd be more focused on work right now, because Saturn opposite your ruler of your 7th house, when it goes, I'd be more concerned after Saturn gets past 21 Aquarius. I'd like you to meet someone after that. I just feel like Saturn opposite Mars could be a little bit of heartbreak.
Got it. Don't worry.
Yeah, but watch any self undoing, because Mars rules your moon.
Got it.
So just keep that in mind. Okay, I
Thank
hope
you
that's
so
helpful.
Yes, thank you so much. It's an honor.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I watch and follow you, I mean, as everybody else here, so it's
Oh.
just nice.
Oh, well, it's nice connecting with you, Gabriel.
Likewise.
I hope it goes well. Let me know. You can email me. You've got so much Scorpio.
Okay.
Yeah, let me know. You might meet someone.
Okay. All right. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Okay, number 25, Jen.
Okay, 25 is Antoinette Williams. Antoinette spelled ANTRONETTE.
Okay.
And we might have done Internet's chart on the last, or maybe one of the last
I
ones.
know that name sounds familiar. Are you still here, Antoinette?
Yes, I was a massage therapist. I was driving and couldn't talk to you.
Mm.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, okay, I have your chart here. Ah, did you have any? Yeah, I remember talking to you about how you couldn't go to funerals, right? Because you
Yeah,
felt people's energy so strongly.
yeah.
Yeah.
It always hurts to go to them for some reason. I feel a lot of pain when I get home.
Yeah, like you really have to be careful about absorbing people's energy. Yeah, so this Mars retrograde is going to be in your seventh house of the partner. Like, and it's, are you married?
Yes,
Yeah.
32 years.
Yeah. Is your husband going through anything like at work or?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's stationing on. So Mercury rules your descendant and Mars is stationing right near your Mercury. So that suggests like maybe your husband's having some difficulties or conflict or.
Yeah, he's having difficulties getting a new trucking job.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, when Mars goes retrograde, maybe he'll get something. Maybe when Mars gets to 25, he might get something unexpectedly. Like, and I would say for him to keep going, keep pushing, because when Mars squares Uranus, that could be something unexpected comes in from
Okay.
his job. Also, you just be aware, watching out for like at work or anything, any unexpected, could be unexpected changes with your boss or things like that. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a massage therapist.
Oh, okay.
I work for myself.
Oh, you work for yourself. Okay. Yeah. Let me see what else is going. So these eclipses are bouncing back and forth between your 6th and your 12th houses. So it's really a good time to put extra emphasis on your health, making sure you simplify your daily life if you can. Yeah, getting enough rest, all of that kind of stuff. This may be more internal for you than external. Also really driving carefully. Saturn's in your 3rd house of transportation. So especially around Mars retrograde, be extra careful about, that's the kind of trip and fall energy about how you move through the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any specific things you were thinking about or questions or?
No, I was just because I think you said Mars or Mercury was stationary when I was born. I was wondering how that affected this.
Yeah, so Mercury, like there's things about think about how important communication is in your life. Your Mercury is in a sign of its dignity, Gemini. And it was like stopped in the sky when you were born, square Uranus. So I wonder if you in your life have dealt with people like shouting or like people who are very argumentative. Mars, you've got Mars square Uranus and Mars square Pluto. I think this Mars square Pluto may be more about you like really metabolizing when people are in pain.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, are you like someone who's like really likes detective novels or like really getting to the bottom of things?
Yes. I love mysteries.
Yeah, deeply probing into like hidden things or the taboo. Got so much 8th house energy.
Yeah, and puzzles.
Puzzles, yeah, liking to do that sort of stuff with your Mercury stationed when you were born. It's really important, and it rules your partner, and you've been married to the same partner stationed for 30 some years. Yes. And where's Virgo? Oh, it looks like, you have a Virgo midheaven. that you do massage therapy. Yeah, like Virgo is the priestess. It has like this healing energy involved. Yeah, you use your hands for your work. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've got Taurus on the 6th house. Yeah. You may want to think about maybe adding some different services to your work if that's something you're interested in, if you're interested in growing your business at all.
Yes,
Or-
I am.
Yeah. 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 Think about that. Being creative. Thinking about, yeah. Yeah. And like maybe even having like some product or service that has to do with Mars retrograde therapy. Like, do you do any energy healing for people?
No, but I was thinking about that last week, actually, taking a Reiki class.
I think you'd be really good at that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that could be something you do with the Mars retrograde or the eclipse season, a new class to help you, add new services to your business. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Yeah, the North Node is going through your 6th house of the work you do for the money you make. So it's a good
Mhm.
time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Okay, number 12.
12 is Anna. Are you still here, Anna? A-N-A? Oh, Anna had to leave. Anna left a note that, oh,
Okay,
that's too bad. Anna had to go. So want to pick another one?
yeah. 22.
22. I feel like I need a drum roll. Is Anne Marie. Are you still here, Anne Marie from Oregon?
Yes, I am still here.
Okay, awesome. Celeste, Anne Marie's info is 12/21/77
Okay,
at 4:40 a.m.
okay.
in New Jersey, Pompton Lakes, Pompton, Pompton Lakes.
Okay. I'm from New Jersey too.
And Anne Marie enjoys the podcast. Yay!
Hey,
It's wonderful. Yeah.
thank you. Oh yeah, Anne Marie. Yes. So you are really being impacted because you have a Scorpio rising and a Taurus moon. So, and the North Node is on your moon right now in your 6th house. So yeah. Has anything recently, like you met someone new that was nurturing or a mother figure or a
Huh.
I wonder if you're going to meet someone who it's like a moon like person, because the North Node is on your moon, and North Node can sometimes, it could just be situations, but something moving you forward, or it could just be like a mentor in your job or something. What kind of work do you do?
Interesting. I'm an archaeologist with the Forest Service.
Ooh, how cool. I love that. So earthy. Yeah. Yeah. And did anything happen in mid-May? Because that eclipse was really close to your axis.
Not that I can remember, but I'll have to think about that a little bit more.
Yeah, May 25th. No, May 15th, there was an eclipse that the sun was on the 7th house of the partner. Or are you married or in a
I am married, yes.
Did anything happen with your husband or something? Like he could have gotten a job promotion or?
Nope, we're still at the same place, same jobs, but maybe something should have happened.
Well, it could have. Sometimes lunar eclipses are internal. So yeah, have you been feeling like you're burning off old stories about yourself with the South Node going into through your 1st house, or shedding parts of your identity, or like needing more rest and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah, definitely. We've got a high school reunion coming up, and so I've been thinking a lot about what I was like 25 years ago and things like that, and working through some of that.
When is your high school reunion?
It's in late October or November, but I'll be on a vacation, so I won't be able to attend.
But you've just been reflecting on that sort of stuff. Yeah, you've got
Correct. Yeah.
interesting. You've got Saturn in your third house, which has to do with early childhood education. So thinking back on that sort of thing. Yeah. It's interesting. You have this Moon Uranus opposition, 6th house, 12th house, and the North node, the nodes are on these two. Interesting. And Mars is going retrograde in your, it's in your 7th house. Yeah. So is your husband, everything going okay with his work and everything?
I think he's looking for a new position.
Yeah.
That
makes a lot of sense. Mars retrograde in his house can symbolize him wanting to take action differently or wanting to do things differently. Yeah. And and you're going on vacation. Where are you going?
We're going to Singapore and Cambodia.
Wow. Okay. Just be extra diligent about, like, I feel like Mars retrograde, because it's opposite your Venus when you're on no vacation, like pickpockets and stuff like that. Just be extra diligent about your personal, security. About Mars in Gemini square Neptune just feels like pickpockety energy.
Okay, that's a great tip. Thank you.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. Yeah, also checking on all your reservations and everything, just to make sure there's no hiccups with that, or there could be, some, just delays and stuff could be coming up. Let me know how that goes. Yeah, that Mercury's on your Uranus. Mercury on your Uranus in the 12th house. Yeah, to me, exactly what I said. Just be extra diligent on your trip, and just being extra diligent about, if you get an intuition, maybe I shouldn't eat this, don't eat it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want you to get any, because Chiron's on your south node. I don't want you to get any gastric distress or something. Yeah. But I think you'll have a wonderful trip.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
to
maybe
hear.
that's what the North Node on your moon, like you're going on this amazing trip, and the environment you'll be in, maybe the moon is like our environment, will be really unique and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to hear your experience of this. Yeah, when you get back, if you want to email me or DM me, let me know how it goes.
Okay, I will do that. Yes, thank you for your time today. This was I was a little nervous about the trip. I was wondering what the stars were saying. So
yeah,
I'm very excited.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Just be patient. Like if you like, there may be some delays and things. So just be aware, like getting to like places early, giving yourself extra travel time. Like if you're going sites and things that, just be aware with Mars retrograde, there can be things. Yeah. And maybe hopefully you can kind of laugh about it.
Yeah, I'll try to keep a positive attitude.
Yeah. Okay, Jen, let's do number one.
Number one. This person might have said they had to leave. Is someone who put their name as iPhone B as in boy, iPhone B? Are you here still, or did you leave? I might have remembered that they said they left, Celeste.
Okay. I'll do 39.
39. Okay, this person is Alexandra. from the Philippines. Are you still here, Alexandra? Alexandra, I do see.
Yes, I'm still here. I couldn't
Great.
figure out how to unmute.
Hi.
Okay, Celeste, here's the info. July 12th, 1975 at 1 a.m. in the Philippines, Manila, Quezon City, Quezon.
Okay, hopefully I spelled that right. I did. July 12th, 75, 1 a.m. Alexandra, is that exact or?
It's pretty close. My mom said it was sometime after midnight because she almost had me in the taxi. In the middle of the night.
Okay. Okay, so your ascendant may be off. Let's see, but you have your Mars in Taurus, your Cancer Sun, Leo Moon, and maybe a Taurus rising. Do you feel like, would you call
Yes.
yourself practical and stable and grounded? Are you interested in like, or would other people describe you as that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're just going to go with the Taurus rising. Have you been having changes going on with your identity or yourself and your the other? Do you have a partner?
Yes, I am married, and I guess just trying to reconnect. Just, you have kids and you focus on work and kids and I haven't really been focusing on spousal romantic relationship.
Well, this eclipse, the solar eclipse with all that romantic stuff is a great time to like recommit to love. And even October 22nd, can you and your husband, can your mother babysit or whatever, and you and your husband have a nice date night out on the Venus Cazimi?
We do have family in town visiting. What day is that? That is, I know we have a bunch of stuff going on. My son's birthday's somewhere near that weekend, but we have family in town, so we may be able to get away for something.
That would be nice, like the Venus Cazimi. So it's at 29 Libra on your Uranus. You could have a fun, exciting, like kind of date night with your husband. Yeah. Like breaking your routines. The sixth house is like the house of daily life and stuff. Like something different. So I think that would be a wonderful thing to do if you can. If you can't do it that day, then do it another day. Now your husband's represented by your Mars and Taurus in your chart. Yeah. And Mars is going retrograde in your second house. So do you work?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's the second house of resources. So, and money. So I just watch your spending around that. You have Saturn in your 10th house of work. So have you had like extra work restrictions, or have you gotten like accolades or a promotion or anything at work?
Not necessarily restrictions, but my work has had like an increase. So we're on not quite mandatory overtime, but they're asking us to do a lot more because we got a larger workload recently.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So Mars really like stimulating in your second house of finances. Now, when it goes retrograde, maybe there'll be some, I don't know, something about, okay, we need to pull back on overtime or something like that. Maybe related. November 19th is when Mars will square Neptune for the second time, where, I don't know, you may see that maybe something about work or income, your personal finances or something like that, or you're taking action about maybe investments or something like that. Or
would that be negatively affected as far as the finances with the square?
Possibly it's possibly the retrograde in your second house. Like an unexpected bill or something like that. Yeah. So it's a good time to maybe conserve resources if it's a concern. Not that it's going to be any huge thing, but it's the second house rules our resources. It rules like our income, our money, our values as well. So maybe it could be more internal about your value, about, okay, I'm feeling so burnt out because I'm doing all this overtime. Is this the job that I want? Do I want to think about maybe even doing something different that may not be, as lucrative, or maybe more lucrative? I don't know, but changing something about how the money you make could be something that comes up with this.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you like your job?
I do. I've been doing it for a very long time,
Okay.
and it's given me a lot of flexibility.
Okay.
It's a non-traditional schedule, which is great for flexibility, but can also mean that I'm working a lot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting. The Mars retrograde. So yeah, just think about if something comes up that like really impacts your values. Neptune is in your 11th house. A friend could ask you for a loan. 11th house rules friends. But or hopes and dreams and things like that. Groups and organizations. Yeah, I don't know if you belong to any organizations, may ask for their dues may go up or something like that because of Mars retrograde thing. Yeah, it doesn't look like any huge thing potentially, but it's something. Yeah, you don't have. I guess the lunar eclipse is kind of across your angles here, so yeah, it could be even more pressure at work where you're working more. Yeah.
Thank you, Celeste.
You're welcome. Okay. I think my energy is depleted. But thank you everyone for coming. I'm sorry that I didn't get to do everyone's to do everyone's chart, but I hope it was helpful, the ones that I did, and I hope I'd love to see some of you in Moon Mastery, or you can get the products, the videos, and the detailed forecast from Snip Feed. Thank you so much, Jed.
My pleasure, Celeste. Scott, lots of people saying thank you in the comments.
Oh, good. Yeah, it was a pleasure to see everyone. Thank you so much.